These guys are like tough as nails. Familiar with Sitka Spruce or J. Massey? And these shafts win hands down. Hey guys, with hunting season upon us, every archer or hunter, bow hunter anyway, traditional and or primitive, etc., we start turning our attention toward our arrows and what we're going to choose to use for hunting. And I have laid out 3 different types of arrows that I have made and shot over time. Not necessarily all in hunting situations, but these will be in target and stump shooting and etc. types of things. Starting with like bamboo shafts, like straight bamboo shafts here. These guys are like tough as nails. They bend without breaking pretty well. When it comes to making them, it can be pretty tricky because there's an awful lot of heat bending to get the straightness through the nodes, and then also through the sections in between nodes that can be kind of troublesome. But they make a tremendously strong shaft, right in the 350 to 400 grains range for the shaft alone. So putting a hunting weight tip on here will get you up there in the mid 500 range. What I've got on these particular arrows, as you can see, just a kind of almost like what looks like a bodkin tip, and that is made with a duplex nail, right? Just these double-headed nails. You grind off the top and you end up with something like this, and this actually fits into the shaft of the arrow, like here. Oops. Trouble with that is, and the one major drawback with bamboo shafts, is that if you stump that guy, it'll split your shaft all the way up the way here. So that's problematic, and you can see here how that happens. So you can lose arrows very quickly. The solution to that, of course, is to take a dowel rod, a hardwood dowel, and finish it off into the tip here and glue it in almost as like a foreshaft kind of thing, and then taper it for a regular broadhead or field tip, or however you're going to do that. You can see that this right here is legit a green yardstake from like the Home Depot that I bought, and it has just exactly that in there. There's a hardwood insert here and then tapered down for an arrowhead. Works very well. So these shafts actually shot for a long time and served me very well. Next up would just be your self-wood shaft arrows. These here are actually Sitka Spruce, and if you're familiar with Sitka Spruce or familiar with, say, J. Massey and his book on primitive archery, talks about how Sitka Spruce is probably a premium or the premium wood shaft for both being strong and reasonably light, but excellent for hunting applications. Here again, the shaft weight itself on a 28-inch shaft is going to land you in the mid 300 grains range. So with the tip on there, you can get yourself close to 500 grains, depending on what you've got in terms of a tip. Incredibly strong shafts, guys. They make sail ship masts out of Sitka Spruce, airplane props, all those kinds of things. So it tells you how strong and how light this material is. If you're interested in knowing or interested in how to make these shafts from scratch, I'll put a link, I guess it'd be on this side of the screen, a card on how to make shafts out of lumber wood, which these were. So these this was just lumber bought from the lumber yard and then turned into arrow shafts. Last but not least, and probably the best, most indestructible material I have found with which to make an arrow is choke cherry shafts, choke cherry shoots rather. So this is just a single year growth choke cherry shoot, and choke cherry grows all over the place where I live, so finding shoots is not very difficult. Making the shafts, however, can take a little bit of time and investment in terms of allowing them to season and then straightening them, right? So when they are still high moisture content, while they're seasoning, I'll take them out and straighten them occasionally. Say like when I first cut them, I'll straighten them daily. Almost every night I'll come through and straighten them, and then after about a week I'll straighten them a couple nights a week, and then after about a month I'll straighten them, you know, maybe once a week or something like that. And by the time they are seasoned, they're mostly straight. Now I have a tutorial on how to make these shafts, and if you're interested in that, it's a pretty exhaustive tutorial. Check it out right here. But the one thing that I would add to that particular video is that some heat straightening is required. I know in that video I said I did it all without having to use heat. As time went by and I think some moisture fluctuations occurred, they tended to revert to some of their original shapes, and so a little bit of tempering, a little bit of heat bending was required to get them to hold their shape. Now that having been said, guys, these shafts, the shafts you're looking at right here, are the shafts that I made in that video. Every one of them is still in one piece, minus this one right here, which errant shot, and you know it had to be pretty errant to do this. But you can see the feathers on there, the fletchings. This arrow's been shot a lot. And here's a pile of fletchings back here. What I did was I stripped off all the old fletchings and have refletched them with new feathers to kind of revive the shafts themselves. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to durability, indestructibility, these shafts win hands down. Hands down. They're tapered from tip to stern, very much a forward weight scenario on these guys. So front of center weight, you can put a pretty heavy tip on here, but bare shafted with no tip, they're in the 450 grain neighborhood. So easy, 400 to 450. Easy to get this shaft into the 600 grains category if that's what you're interested in putting together. And I'm telling you guys, you can bounce this off of trees, you can bounce it off of stumps. I've bounced them off of concrete blocks, and they have survived every one of those shots. My personal favorite is this shaft right here, and I am going to again be shooting these for practice, getting ready for hunting, and pick out my 3 best shooters and outfit those with broadheads as well. So again, if you're interested in knowing how to or interested in a build along for how these were made, I'll put a card here in the video, and you can click over and watch that. But guys, just a quick rundown of arrow shafts, because I almost make them as frequently as I make bows, which is all the time, evidenced by this mess right here. And I don't know if this is an indictment on my ability to hit a target, or a badge of honor for all the different types of arrows I have tried to make and have allowed to you know, break. But nonetheless, guys, everything I've gotten to know about arrows is sitting right here on the table. So hopefully you found the video interesting, or at least enlightening. And guys, I will catch up with you next week as we continue our path on you know, traditional archery stuff, arrows, bows, and etc.